Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am the Stepson of Krypton,
I'm Mantis.
and today we are bringing you the continuation with Justice League Unlimited number 9. It is getting really, really good. This is the epilogue to the We Are Yesterday. We're finally going to get somewhat of a conclusion on some things here. I'm excited for this issue. Mantis, are you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right, don't want to waste any more time. We're going to go ahead and jump on into that intro. All right, guys. So this issue opens up to we're on the watchtower. We have an enraged Harley Quinn looking for the love of her life. Good old Mr. J, the Joker. And we're hearing the journal of Red Tornado discussing the chronal siege perpetrated by the Legion of Doom. Time itself is literally fractured, and as time continues to try and reset itself, the situation gets worse and worse for our heroes.
I just want to point out: did anyone else, and this leave us down down in the comments? Did anyone else read Harley Quinn's dialogue as like the one from the animated series? Like, because
100%.
I totally did in my inner monologue when I was reading this.
Mr. J. Yep,
Mr.
totally.
J.
Yep, totally 100%.
Yep.
So now we see the heroes from the past and the other universes. They're talking with some of our leaguers, and Abin Sur is not so happy about the situation. He's wondering why they can't get home. But it's Hal Jordan thinking to himself, maybe he shouldn't be in such a rush to get back, as Hal knows the fate that's in store for him. We then see Super Bat, and he looks pretty badass. But for those of you, go ahead, Mantis.
I was gonna say, when I saw this, I was like, "That's fucking awesome." I don't quite get the green energy unless he maybe is merged with a lantern or something there, and maybe you're gonna explain that. But when I first saw this, I was like, "That's fucking awesome." I want more of this guy. I'll have to look that up because I mean, I'm assuming it's a character in DC that I just don't know about, apparently. But
So Superbat is a character, and for those of you others who also don't know, it is in Batman Superman World's Finest issue number 4, which is also written by Mark Waid, who does this comic book series. Batman and Superman are merged together using the powers of the Green Lantern ring, which is why we see Superbat glowing, and we hear a good old jealous Green Lantern there saying that that's his shtick. So he has all of theirs. He has the suit's abilities, he has Superman's abilities, and he does have the Green Lantern power.
that's awesome.
We then flash over to Black Lightning, and he's trying to convince Grodd to tell them how to stop all of the craziness that's going on. The League gets interrupted by none other than Time Trapper and the World Forger, who we did see at the end of the last issue. They know time's eroding away, and if they don't take action, there will be no tomorrow. Dun, dun, dun. And if you remember, we had discussed Mantis. We were like, that looks like Doomsday, and we did know obviously Doomsday becomes Time Trapper later on in his stage of life. And this apparently we were right. It is Doomsday as Time Trapper. As
it's rare, but we were right on this one.
So, and we'll come back to that because they actually they'll explain it a little more later on in the issue. Because for right now, we are then going to kind of flash over to Terrific Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Not too subtle name, but it's fine. Where we see Ted and Michael, and they're working diligently to try to bring back that little shit Airwave. And Ted uses that one line of dialogue to explain away yet again why we do not see our Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. Apparently, whenever the two people are in close proximity, the two of the same person are in close proximity, especially if they do actually come into physical contact, time fractures even more. And if we remember our lessons from Back to the Future, we never interact with our past selves or bet on sporting events. However, knowing all of that, we do still see two Mr. Terrifics in this shot. Ted and Michael continue to argue back and forth about Airwave, and the younger Michael in there says he has found the answer. And turns out the answer is... And he's gone.
Poof, he gone. Which this is the same thing we can assume that happened to Harley Quinn. They say flux. Again, the way I took it is it's like the Omega energy destroying off this universe, and in the people therein. So unfortunate for the older Michael. The the we argued about this, or not argued, but we were just deciding how to.
What do we
Uh,
call him? The past, the younger,
I
the younger but somehow
yeah,
older. Like,
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we'll say the, like you said, the one that is younger in age.
yes. So now, as we referenced to just a minute ago, we're back on the watchtower and we see Firestorm and Flash, and they're talking about the two kind of standing slash floating
Mhm.
before them. And we learned that, yes, again, like I said, we were right that that is Doomsday. And, Flash has explained Superman even had said that Doomsday evolved to become Time Trapper and much, much more powerful than Doomsday already normally was. And then we see the other as Alpheus. Am I saying that right, Mattis? I believe that's how we
That I
want to
think
pronounce it.
so. Yeah.
I'm the worst of the two of us with names pronunciation, but this one seems kind of straightforward. However, Alpheus is the brother to the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor. Um, he is literally like that's his job. Is he will create universes and multiverses, and he also takes them out of existence if they get a little too crazy. So, and we see, and it's funny because Flash even remarks that Alpheus could flatten all of them with just a sneeze. Yet that doesn't stop good old June down there from getting a little mouthy with him. Now we see June there for those, and it's she's talking about the Challengers. If you have read the series Challengers of the Unknown, first page, second page, you find out that that's June. So as we see more and more massive coronal disturbances, Alpheus recommends that the only way for certain to know for certain if they can stop what is happening is a little vivisection of Grodd. And for those of you who don't know, like a vivisection differs from a dissection because dissections usually occur on dead subjects, while a vivisection is subject is alive and experimented on. So Grodd's in for a little bit of fun here. You can tell he's excited about it when he's saying what.
Yeah, not very good. Again, PETA is not going to be happy with DC in this issue. uh, but I mean, it's the fate of this universe. I feel like desperate, uh, desperate. What is it?
Desperate times calls desperate
Yeah,
measures.
yeah.
Well, and this one we do a lot of jumping back and forth because very next page we are over to Mr. Terrific and good old Ted, and they're arguing back and forth, trying to figure out that what Michael's younger self was able to find the answer to, and it comes to Ted, and he says the answer is that the older Michael is too emotionally invested, or this current him, he is too emotionally invested in saving Airwave, so his focus is split. Now, for those of you who've been following along with the Mr. Terrific series, we see in the younger Mr. T there that he's much more emotionless. Obviously, everything that had just happened with his wife and unborn child. We also see that same thing in the new Superman movie. He's very emotionless, cold, kind of calculated. In that movie, I mean, he is goddamn Mr. Terrific.
Oh yeah, I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific.
Very pragmatic.
I like that line in there. He's goddamn Mr. Terrific.
It's like, sorry, it reminds me of.
Right ahead.
I was gonna say it reminds me of from I forget which X-Men with the Juggernaut with
X-Men
Ellen
3, The
Page.
Last Stand.
Yeah, I'm just that's so bad, but it just reminds me of that for some reason.
I like the line, right?
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
I just don't like everything else about that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Vinny there plays a good Juggernaut for what they were trying to do, but I don't like that. That's not how Juggernaut's supposed to look. He's not. We're not going into that.
Yeah.
Where we are going is back to the Watchtower, and we see Black Lightning, and he's arguing with our newcomers there about letting them flat out murder Grodd. And it's funny. It kind of alludes back to Mantis, what you were just saying about how the ends justify the means, right? Like desperate times, desperate measures. Yet they still don't want to kill Grodd, even after everything he's did. And that's kind of like that. That's that signal of our heroes, right? That's what separates them and makes them the greatest heroes. Is that all of that, and they still don't want them to murder Grodd. which, I mean, it would be a slow, painful death that they're going to basically dissect him alive and try to figure out. But Abin Sur is quick to interject to the other point of view, saying they must do whatever to return home. Alpheus goes on to explain that, currently the universe is disconnected from the multiverse. It's kind of like in this sealed, contained system that houses all of the different permutations of the Omega energy to keep it from destroying the rest of existence. So, and to gain that understanding of how they can actually understand the Omega energy and save this current existence, it must be extracted from the monkey. So again, we get a page. We're going to flash back to Terrific Tech. Mr. T is now working to disconnect himself from his emotions to discover what his younger self did right before he vanished. And he does, right? And he realizes like Airwave is still there in the general vicinity. He's just basically spread across the space, and they need a way of focusing the frequency that he's kind of at so he can kind of call all of his molecules back together. And it turns out they just need a fork, not a spoon or a knife. They need a tuning fork.
Yeah, this is actually kind of funny just because I play music on occasion, and no one uses
he plays music a lot, and he's very good at it.
No one uses tuning forks anymore. In this case, though, I like the inclusion of like a giant ancient form of technology, like a tuning fork, into this like high tech environment to kind of bridge gaps between space-time stuff. I like the idea of that. It's like using a giant telescope to see and powering it up with super tech to see into a different universe, shit like that. Like I like that type of stuff. So I enjoyed the inclusion of a giant tuning fork in this issue.
I see it as this advanced hollow table computer, but you have to wind crank it to power it, right? Like,
right.
Get it back on there.
The opposite way. Yeah.
Okay, so we're back on the Watchtower, and there's a battle breaking out between our heroes and Time Trapper and the World Forger, and to protect Grodd of all people. However, I don't really imagine it's going to go the way the League hopes. I mean, you see Starfire there. She's trying to use some of her powers to protect Grodd, and a couple of other of our heroes rush in. However, I don't think it's going to have much effect.
Yeah, this threw me because because and you can read this on there. I'm sure you're showing the page on there. It's like the words are backwards; they're reversed, and I'm assuming this is Time Trapper or the World Forger reversing time, or some iteration there that they're manipulating it, because when they're speaking, like their words are backwards and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. So if you notice, like in like the second panel, the words are going in the correct order, and right as he's going to swing his axe there, then they start to get distorted and all that, because part of his power's coming from once he swings that axe and once he strikes the axe. So we then see our favorite monkey. He's got a Green Lantern collar around him. Time Trapper's calling him, and as the pseudo battle kind of continues, Alpheus explains that his intentions are well placed. And he has at some point in time also even served alongside the League. Now, keep in mind, he creates universes and multiverses, as he even alludes to here. And he even says that even he has not seen a universe in this much trouble, right? So he's like, let us act. Growing annoyed with the fight, because it's not much of one, they form a tachyon dome. And he tries to explain to the heroes that none of them are strong enough to get through this dome. And, we see Super Bat... Sorry, he's just badass. We see Super Bat, and he's even say even a number of Green Lanterns wouldn't be able to get through it. They're all attacking the dome. It's not working. However, as they continue to fight, Supergirl busts up through the floor, and it's as powerful of beings as these are. They're not smart enough to encase themselves completely in a sealed dome, and she even reminds them that if you're going to do that, you might want to encase the floor as well. And then we kind of see the different iterations of Supergirl there. She's kind of phasing out in some kind of absolute Martian Manhunter colors going on right there at the top of that page. Grodd's making an attempt to spare himself from a vivisection. He's making a case to Time Trapper that if they wish to really understand the Omega energy, they need him, and they need him as more than just a lab specimen. Obviously, these are advanced beings. The logic is understood. And Time Trapper reminds Grodd that if he betrays them, he will take him to the birth of our son and throw him in it. Although, like, and we kind of touched on this before we started recording. Like, the sun's hotter now than it was when it was first born, or came into existence. So I'm not sure why you take him back billions of years, but it sounds pretty cool.
It sounds awesome. Yeah.
Adds that little extra, like, not only are you going to go back billions of years, but I'm going to just destroy you in the making of a star. We then flash back again to Mr. Terrific and good old Ted Cord there, and the fork's kicking up, man. It's creating this kind of like green field. It looks like his molecules are trying to come back together, and it's not fully working. They need more. They got to crank that shit up to 11. And Mr. Terrific just feeling, the emotions are coming back. He wants to save this kid. He kind of reaches in like he's trying to pull Airwave out, and all the while he's telling the kid, fight, like, like they forgave you, like we need you. I don't think they do, but he's given what they're going through, they'll probably need him a little bit. So he's got to fight to get his shit together, quite literally. So bam, Airwave back again.
Yeah, I think this story is kind of surrounded Airwave from the very beginning. And again, Airwave was in absolute power as well.
Yes.
But here it's like he is instrumental in the fact he has interacted with the Omega energy, which is the primary thing that's causing all the problems in this quote unquote universe that the Time Trapper and World Forger are trying to stop. So I agree. This whole premise of bringing Airwave back again, although for Mr. Terrific it seems kind of personal, I think probably more realistically he's going to have a larger part to play to fix what's going on with the Omega energy.
Why don't they vivisect that little fucker?
Well, they might. I don't know.
We don't know. We'll have to find out in a later issue. That would be funny, though. Things seem to be settling down at the Watchtower. Obviously, Time Trapper, World Forger, and Grodd have left the building. And, they're speaking about rounding up all the Doomers. And as they say that, we see two of them leaving, or it looks like they have made it outside of there. One looks to be the Aquaman variant that in the previous part of the issue when they were attacking the Tachyon Dome, we see the World Forger and he calls out about, and he kind of stops himself on who he's talking about. And it's like, okay, so he's referring to him, and obviously we see him, he's kind of flying out of the Watchtower. And then we see a Doomsday-esque looking, kind of rough looking creature. We don't know exactly who he is, or at least I don't. Let me know down in the comments if you kind of know who that is. It's just a little too difficult to tell from the panel thus far. We then go back to, we've not actually been here yet in this comic book series in the Justice League Unlimited, but we're at the original HQ of the Justice League, which is kind of the Mount. I take it as the Mount Justice that we see in like Young Justice, and they're like, hey, this was before the Hall of Justice. So I'm assuming that's what this is supposed to be here. And we see our Superman finally, and our Batman and our Wonder Woman. And, Batman's being all doom and gloom, as usual. He kind of explains that they're in their rush to assemble this new league. When we formed the Justice League Unlimited, they made a catastrophic error. And boom, that's where this issue leaves us. So that wraps up issue 9 and the conclusion, the epilogue of the We Are Yesterday. A lot going on, but you can kind of tell that it seems like we're leading towards another like cataclysmic event. This is another crisis, right?
Wouldn't be a Justice League without it. But yeah, bringing these really powerful beings into the equation with the Time Trapper and the World Forger. I don't. This is the thing I don't know. I'm assuming they're talking about the OG Justice League there, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are talking about something to do with those two and Grodd. So hopefully in the next issue we get to see from the the cover art on this, it seems as though that there are going to meet, and there has something to do with that. So I can't wait to find out what this catastrophic error that Batman always is. It does seem like he's the critical thinker of the group, but also he does seem like he's always bringing bad news to the table and nothing good.
Well, and the thing is, like he says, like in our rush to this new incarnation of the league, like he's the critical thinker. So wouldn't you not rush, and wouldn't you take a little more time to do this properly? So
Yeah, and to be clear, they're talking about the Justice League Unlimited, like, because remember at the very beginning of the series, everyone had lost their powers, so they brought everyone together, and this is the new Justice League Unlimited thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he's referring to, not the OG league from where they're at right now in the Mountain Justice League you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I know. He's talking about when they formed everybody. They're like, every hero is going to have access. We're bringing them all in. Obviously, there was a catastrophic error, which, to be fair, we already saw because you let Airwave in, and then look what happened, right?
Yep.
Shit caused all of this. So, all right, guys, let us know, how are you feeling about the Justice League Unlimited series. I do think it is kind of like they mentioned, had this kind of being its own separated universe right now because of everything going on. It's kind of like been separated, disconnected from the multiverse. I kind of want to see when they connect it, if they include, now there's going to be some crossover to the absolute universe, because we're starting to see in that universe everything's kind of starting to come together. We're starting to learn that these guys are a little closer than we think they are. So let us know how you feel about that. Are you enjoying this more than the absolute, or vice versa? And if you have made it with us this far, don't forget to give the video a like, thumbs up. It looked like you were don't do that. It looked like you were doing a thumbs down at first.
Oh,
You went like,
sorry. Likes here, give us a thumbs up. Yeah,
that right there. Subscribing to the channel and clicking the damn bell so you get alerted when we release these new issues. We are making an effort. Other than the Justice League one, we are recording them separately so we can get them out and bring them a little quicker and be a little bit shorter for you. However, this was the OG one we started on, so Mantis and I will continue to do this one together. Let us know how you feel about that as well. Mantis, do you have anything else?
No.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, guys, we'll see you then.
Later.